Alrighty, welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy XVI. We're going to jump right in with some more story, I believe, because I think we're done with side quests. I can go check my chambers real quick, check out that cup, but then we're probably jumping into the story. Let's see what we get from this.
Oh, I wasn't expecting you back, so.
High Cleric's Medallion.
All yours. Best of luck out there.
Healing potency of high potions.
Did.
That's really a purple accessory. Why doesn't it increase the healing from all potions? Only high potions.
He cracked the crystal too.
Check out my new cup. I still don't really know. I mean, we got some of these from side quests, so I guess it's kind of a... collect them all for collectible sake, but most of them I'm just getting from doing the story, so... Well, no, actually, I think they were all from side quests, except the crystal. So maybe that's just... you get all those for doing all the side quests.
Is that the thing Tom's helped?
Alright.
All right, Clive. Asterix. Mid finished sending half the hideaway traipsing across the twins, has she? I swear, that girl'll do anything to put off visiting her old dad's grave. No excuses now, though, eh?
Not quite. She said there was one final thing she had to take care of. I'm sure she'll be finished soon enough.
She said that, in those words.
She did, yes.
Clive, were you born yesterday or something? There is no thing. She'll probably be halfway to Canva by now.
Mid. I might still be able to catch her.
Oh, really? She threw me for a loop. I actually thought she meant that. She played me. I was going Diablo. No, this is PS5 only.
Obelith, have you seen Mid?
Yep. In a boat, going that way.
In a boat.
Then I'm too late.
You in a hurry and all, are you? Oh, I offered to take her across, but she wouldn't wait. Just paid for a dinghy and rowed off. Oars going like the clappers. Got some life in her, ain't she? But anyway, I was on my way up to see you, as it happens. Got a letter for you. Urgent, by the sound of it. One of your uncle's men said I was to hand it to you in person, post-bleeding haste. And you're here now.
Thank you, Obelith.
Don't mention it.
I'm just impressed because usually in games like this, especially with Square Enix, they always make it so obvious when a character is going to play you, you know? Like usually they'd be like, oh yeah, I just have this one thing to do, you know, like make it obvious. But from what I remember, this was on Wednesday, today's Friday, so, but from what I remember, she actually sounded pretty genuine when she was like, oh, I just have one more thing to do. So I just find that kind of funny. Yeah, I did the update, just so you guys know, this game did have an update. We were talking about how the remake only had like one update ever, and it was just to fix a bug. This game did get an update, but it is just a bug update. They added a few settings. They added a motion blur setting, some camera settings, some new controller layouts. They said they corrected an issue that affected the stability of some menus. They said they corrected some text issues, so maybe they fixed some typos. And the most important update, now when you do a screenshot and post it on Twitter, it gives it the hashtag FF16 hashtag on it. So that's incredibly important. Thank God they fixed that. But yeah, it's not really, it's just small stuff. But good to know that they're kind of updating it a little bit. Not just leaving it to do nothing with it.
Cool.
So, but I am curious if there will be any updates that actually have some content in them. But for now, it's good to know that they're keeping up with small stuff. My dear boy, my journey to Canberra has been a resounding success. The friend I mentioned not only agreed to share the contents of his strongbox with us, but his considerable knowledge of the goings-on in the free cities, by which I learned of the endeavors of a certain young friend of yours. Though I, for one, believe Miss Telemon's project to be quite the valiant enterprise, haha, funny, I doubt the Canverian authorities will take kindly to the unauthorized use of their dockyards, no matter how deserted. And if rumor has already reached my friend, it may not be long before the guildmasters are rapping at your door. Which is why I pen you this note. I would like to borrow your man Gav for a moon or two, that he might keep a watch on those who might mean our little fellowship ill, and warn us of any impending attack. I trust that you will give this proposal your full consideration.
Trouble in Canva. Well, I'll need someone to keep an eye on Mid.
So what? Mid got us to do all the dirty work and then just sailed off into the sunset?
It, seems that way.
Well, nothing we can do about it now. But next time you plan on visiting Sid, you might want to tie her to something before you suggest it.
Ah, don't be so hard on her. Gotta admit, the dirty work was kind of fun. Everyone pitching in, all that bollocks. Just like when we built this place.
You're right.
Anyway, we all set to head to the old hideaway. I could do with getting to Canva pretty sharpish. Wouldn't do to keep Lord Rosfield of the Seven High Houses waiting now, would it? Not after he asked for me personally.
Gav will be leaving with me. Will you mind the place while we're gone?
You can count on me. Just be sure to give Sid and the others my regards. All right.
Oh, by the way, Jill will be joining us too. She's got some things to take care of, but she'll meet us there.
I hope she's telling the truth at least.
I hate to ask, but what stuff would she have to take care of? She's just chilling here with me, like, what could she possibly be doing?
Well, Sid, I remember what you told me. But if no one is listening to what you have to say, you may as well not say it. But I will say this, old friend. Hugo Cooker is gone. His shadow looms over us no longer.
It's a pity the Phoenix can't be in two places at once. If he'd have been with us, maybe he could have done something for the lost.
Not even the Phoenix can bring people back from the dead. Life has a beginning and an end. So we must live while we have the chance. And not as slaves to the crystals, but as free men.
May we join you?
Granny's here.
Lady Karen, what a pleasant surprise.
I thought I'd drop by and see how you were all doing before heading off to restock my supplies. It wasn't the most scenic view back then, but it were never as bad as this.
I know. The blight marches on. And soon, there'll be no escaping sights like these. So our mission remains unchanged. We cannot stop until every Mother Crystal is gone, and their thirst for ether with them. The only one that remains in Storm is Drake's Tail in the Crystalline Dominion.
Our next target.
We're going to Twinside.
It's the capital of the Empire these days. I wouldn't like to think how tightly guarded they've got the place. Not that that'll stop you, but we do well to scout it out before you go charging in.
We would indeed.
If you're off to the Dominion, you can take this great lump with you.
Goods.
Oh, I am sorry. Have you forgotten you're the most wanted man in the Twins? I thought you might like to disguise yourselves as the attendants of a travelling trader, assuming you've no better ideas. You wanted to buy yourself some tools, didn't you? Well, now's your chance.
You're letting me go? With them? Oh, thanks, Nan!
Stop that! You'll break me bones, you great galoot! There's a caravan that runs back and forth between the Dominion and the Bocklad markets. It's managed by the Merchants Guild. Just show them Goots' traders pass and you'll be on your way. It'll be a damn sight less risky than footing it the length of the Crystal Road. That's for sure.
Thank you, Karen. And glad to have you with us, Goots.
Oh, okay then. I'll get me things and I'll meet yous there. See yous down in Bocklad.
Get off! Me poor fingers!
Jill, you're with me.
Understood.
And Gav,
Already on my way, Captain.
be careful.
Aren't I always?
No.
Do you see that, Sid? Your protege's making a proper little outlaw of himself.
Yeah, it's good to see Lil Jon still getting work. Proud of him. So, I have a question. How many people do you think are on Reddit and Twitter right now saying that this game is a message from Square that Final Fantasy is no longer the same, and we're literally destroying the crystals is a metaphor for killing the old fans. And now we're in the new Final Fantasy and screw the old fans, and that's why we're destroying the crystals. How much you want to bet? It was the same thing with the remake. That's all I heard for like weeks was, oh, the ghosts are the old fans, and we're killing the old fans and killing the old Final Fantasy. That's like all anyone would talk about for weeks. I bet you it's the same with this game. Bet you everyone's like, I mean, it is kind of an interesting metaphor, but it's not like they're trying to kill old Final Fantasy. But having said that, there is kind of a cool metaphor for like, because this game seems like it takes place after the stereotypical Final Fantasy quest where we've saved the crystals. I don't think there's one in particular. Like, I don't think this game literally takes place after Final Fantasy 1 or something, but it has this kind of like, oh, some kind of crystal quest happened in the past, and we all decided that the crystals were good and saved humanity, but now they've become a blight and we have to destroy them to get to this new life. So, like, it's interesting in that way, but yeah, I bet you there's a lot of people that are exaggerating it, being like, we're killing the past 15 games, killing the old fan. I heard that so much with the remake, like, the whispers are the old fan, they're old fans, and they're telling them to screw off, and this is the new Final Fantasy. It's like, no, they would not say that. That's like one of the silliest takes I've heard. Like, there is something to be said about like the whispers being fate, and how by defeating them we're like creating a new path. But that's as far as it goes. It's not screw the old fans. Like, if you know anything about Square Enix, that's not what it's supposed to mean. So I don't know. I just always, that take was always so annoying to listen to. It was just nothing but people that thought they knew what they were talking about, spamming that on every thread that I would read. And I bet you it's the same with this game. By the way, Foe, thank you very much for the 17 months. And how's it going, 46? I didn't think about it till now. But yeah, I'm sure that was something people were talking about when it first came out. I've still kind of dodged all the conversation about this game since I haven't finished it yet. It'll be exciting to go back and read the Hive Mind.
How are you feeling?
When I'm done with the game.
Better. Thanks to Taya.
I'm glad to hear it.
Oh, now we have a side quest.
And Torgal helped too. The new boy.
It's for something later.
This used to be a trade route for merchants crossing the Scars, till the Republic laid a new road wide enough to let wagons pass, and all official traffic moved there.
Leaving this one for those living outside the law.
Indeed. I doubt we'll be the only outlaws on the trail today.
Is that this? Or is that this? I think it's this. It's kind of cool that we can see the enemies walking around down there. How's it going, Sase? I don't think 17 will be an MMO. I think they'll just add to 14 for a very long time. Seems like lately, any attempt to do like a second version of a online experience has failed miserably. Like Overwatch 2 failed miserably. Most MMOs that have been trying to do like second iterations have failed. Like 14 was the second attempt, but they didn't name it something else. They just kept it Final Fantasy 14, you know. I mean, they did call it Realm Reborn, but I think that they'll just keep adding to 4. Like 14 is so hot that I doubt they would put out the fire by releasing a new MMO for a very long time. They want to keep people on 14. They will only make another MMO once 14 is cold. I don't think it's going to be cold for a long time.
So what do you think?
That we'd be lucky to make it out alive.
So this is like the most forced side quest of all time. There's like no way you miss this.
Really? It's as bad as that?
Oh, aye. There's trouble up ahead. And too much of it for us to handle.
I take it there's danger on the road.
This guy looks like what's his name? Keegan, Michael Key. Yes? No?
What about this fearsome-looking fellow?
He does.
He'd be equal to the task?
Oh, no.
I almost said Jordan Peele, but that's his.
Assuming
That's
he'd
the other
want
guy.
to hear us out. Well met.
No, you don't
friend.
think so?
My brother and I have been tasked with finding a merchant's missing cart. You seen it by any chance?
I see it.
How does a merchant misplace his cart?
Oh, the man's a coward. When he thought goblins might come a-snarling, he ran, leaving his livelihood abandoned in the pass.
He sent the two of us to fetch it, but it's gone. Now, I'm not much of a thinker.
Maybe I'm just falling into the stereotypical, he's bald. He looks like bald
By
guy.
my estimation, the bastards are lying in wait just down the road.
We may have seen our share of action, true, but we've not got the skill in arms to boldly brave an ambush.
You, however, have the look of a man who needn't fear a band of backwater ruffians. What do you say?
Ruffians.
Will you help us out?
I love that word.
Chances are they'll come for you either way. But if you promise to lend us a hand, at least you'll pocket a reward for your troubles.
Well, if I'm going to have to deal with them anyway...
Maybe this guy just looks like you.
Clearly got a fine head on those broad shoulders.
We're lucky you came along. Now, hoping to make a heavy purse in Boklad, our merchant friend loaded his cart with as much as it would carry. Reckon he won't be forking over the rest of our fee if we don't find those goods. So, while you're seeing to those bandits, you keep your eyes open.
All right. Just don't expect me to drag the cart out of there myself.
No. You can leave the cart to us. You just put an end to those bandits and point us in the right direction. You do that, we'll take care of the rest.
So what you're saying is just walk forward and kill the enemies I was already gonna kill.
But if there are bandits lying in wait, I should probably take care of them.
Whoa. What was that? That's that Windows noise. That's the second time that's happened. Where I got like a Windows noise, but nothing happened. My Windows is broken.
These must be our bandits.
Is anyone surprised?
Let's try.
Oh, I used a potion on accident. I think I've decided that I don't like the way the potion doggo thing works. I thought I'd get used to it, but
That's them dealt with. No.
I so often use potions when I mean to use the doggo and vice versa. I don't know what would be a better way of doing it, to be fair, but something about it just doesn't feel right. Like, I'm just used to the D-pad always doing the same thing in most games. It's weird that I have to kind of look to see before I press the button. The D-pad feels so much like a oh crap button in most games. That's how it operates in my head. I'm like, oh, I have to heal, and I just immediately press the button without really looking at it. So it just I always end up doing the wrong thing. I think that the D-pad should always do the same thing, just because it's one of those buttons that in your head you kind of instinctively hit. So maybe... You know what I think would have been better? If you held a button and pressed it for the items. I'm not sure what button to press. I think L1 is lock on. But whatever the case, it should have been like L1 right is a high potion and regular right is doggo. L1 up is potion, regular up is sick. You know what I mean? I think that would have worked better. Then I would always know, no matter what the circumstance, if I hit L1 right, I'll get a heal. Whereas, you know, because you want to be able to heal in a pinch without having to think about it. So yeah, I think that would have been better. I'm such a hero. My kick moves.
Getting all of this out of here will be a nightmare.
Seems we've found ourselves the right man for the job, wouldn't you say?
Found the cart and didn't leave a single bastard breathing. Our merchant friend will be delighted.
And how exactly will he be getting his goods out of here?
You leave that to us. After all, it'd be wrong to make such a fine warrior haul cabbages to market.
You've done your part. And that's all you need to worry about. Here.
These guys are just other bandits that wanted to
It's been a
steal stuff
pleasure.
from those bandits.
Now piss off.
There's no need to be so rude, brother. What if we want his help again next time?
Excellent name for that quest, by the way. Get cart. That was such an odd side quest. Just talk to them here, fight the enemies we were already going to fight. Whatever.
I see the Dalmex lag behind Rosaria when it comes to bridge building.
The fallen ruin should hold at least. The path continues on the other side.
Desert Rose. Is anything hiding over here? Isn't that a front quest, not a side quest? Like, we just did a bunch of side quests. Now we're on the main quest. Did we really need a extra side quest that was just kind of in our way?
Soil and stone!
Nice. Titan! Oh! He's just really feeling it. He's really feeling the power of Titan. The final sin.
So this is Zemeckis.
The land of the gods. It's even more impressive than I imagined. I remember being captivated by the story as a child.
Long, long ago, man was overcome by avarice and challenged the gods in a bid to win their power.
The final showdown with Shin.
Here, at these falls. Or so the legend goes.
Beautiful.
If anyone ever manages to plumb those depths, perhaps we'll learn if there's any truth to the tale.
That the gods emerged victorious and punished man for his defiance by visiting upon him 2 curses.
Dominant sin bearers. To tell the truth, I always thought it strange that the dominant and their icons were deemed a curse. Back home, the dominant inherited the throne. They were admired and exalted, not spurned. Whenever I got to that part of the story, I always assumed there must be something I'd misunderstood.
You had a lot of storybooks, didn't you? In your room, I mean. When we were young.
The old legends were always my favorites. Epic battles between gods and men. Father encouraged me to read as much as I could. He thought it good for my education.
You really were a boy like any other, weren't you?
Just look at this place. It's enough to make you believe the legends are true.
I know.
We're not far from Boklad. The road will be busier up ahead.
And we'll have to keep our wits about us.
Is there a reason we wouldn't think it's true?
Clive? Something wrong?
Nothing. It's nothing.
Meanwhile.
I see the reports are true, Father. You have surrendered the throne to Olivier.
I love that picture behind them, by the way.
I have.
I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt. This is a really important scene. I love the fact that he's sitting in his chair and he's like, I see you've given up your throne. Like, literally, he's sitting in your chair.
Emperor Olivier shall rebuild the Holy Empire of Sanbreque.
How is he to rule an empire? He is but a boy.
I shall advise him until he comes of age.
Father, please.
Or for as long as I am able. The empire we seek to build needs young blood to rule it, and I can think of none better suited to the task. There is other news, Dion. Hugo Kupka is dead, and Drake's Fang destroyed. The pillars of the Republic have fallen. Ere long, the Imperial banner shall fly over every city in Storm. And then Valisthea. All shall bow before their Emperor.
Father, these are the words of a tyrant.
They are the words of a god.
Oh, even better.
The Emperor whom I gladly serve. Great Greeker, made flesh. Return to your camp, Dion, and ready your forces. It is time to show the world the true power of Sanbreque.
Father. I find you much changed. Is this truly the path you wish to tread? Or are these the ambitions of another? Of Ultima, perhaps?
What nonsense is this? I speak my mind, and my mind only. Though I do owe Annabella thanks for reminding me of certain truths regarding the nature of nations, of rulers, and of the divine.
You would trust the words of this traitress? She betrayed her country. She slew her husband.
You have ever been an invaluable servant to Sanbreque, Prince Dion. I trust you will continue to serve your Emperor in the wars to come.
Canker! Silence! Insolent wretch! You will bend the knee. All else is heresy.
Sire, forgive me.
This audience is over. Come, your Radiance. The Rowena Syndicate awaits your pleasure.
Oh, not another meeting with silly old men. They're so boring. I'm hungry, Father. Can't we have luncheon instead?
Sounds about right.
Does it pain you that you will not inherit your father's throne?
I have suffered worse.
Count your blessings, Dion. For a base-born child to be chosen by Bahamut is miracle enough. You have risen high on his wings, but you shall rise no higher, lest your impure blood stain the throne.
What do you know of my blood?
And she is just incredible. And yeah, it's kind of cool how she moved into a different kingdom and yet she's still doing the same exact thing, like separating the son from the father. And I believe him. I think that Ultima has nothing to do with the Empire. I think that it's all Annabella just feeding the Emperor as to what to do. I think he's actually telling the truth there. I think Dion is misguided. Not in a bad way, but like he thinks that it might be Ultima, but I don't think it is. I thought there was something I wanted to do, but now I can't remember what it was. Oh, I remember. I wanted to see if this would tell me more about... The tragic tale that came to be known as the Sins of Desmekis is said to have taken place here. But I don't think it'll tell us that. Wait. No. But maybe we could look it up later. But what I was curious about was, so there was an ancient tale of like gods fighting, and then this being created from the gods fight. And then they said that like dominance and all of the power came from that fight. But then they said like, looking at this place, you almost believe it. And I'm wondering why they wouldn't believe it. Like, this place has always been here. Dominants have always been around. The world is very magical. Like, I'm not really sure why they would, like, not believe it. Like, why it's a legend and not just a history story. I mean, maybe it's because they read it in books as kids and it just sounds like a embellished story to be interesting, but I'm just kind of curious why they wouldn't like think that's just the true story. What's the general belief as to why dominants exist? I don't think we actually know yet.
No. His radiance has lost one capital already.
Or they all just kind of don't talk about it.
Power to hold on to Twinside. His troops are both getting increasingly outnumbered. So we can wait for the siege to end. Nice try.
Oh, I hit the wrong button. What the? What down here? Beep-a-lee-be-lee doo-doo.
They've closed the road to Randalar.
If the siege breaks,
wow,
they'll need more than this to stop the Imperial legions marching on the capital.
Oh, I'm done for.
If you haven't got a pass, you're not getting through. Please.
Well, fine. I think that was just Clive being jaded. Maybe. Maybe this big battle is the understood... Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, maybe. Maybe this battle is the understood reason behind dominance, and Clive was being jaded by saying, like, wow, you almost believe it. Like, but he's thinking now that it's something else. Yeah, you might be right. That's why I kind of want to read if there's a Tome's explanation of the battle. I'm curious to read it because it might say like that's the understood history, or if it'll say that's like a legend that most people don't believe.
Good girl. Fly, Ambrosia.
I disagree. I think being able to pause and read up on things is a good thing, not a bad thing. Because most games you just don't have that, and then you're just lost.
The crystalline dominion.
Because they don't know how to live without the crystal's blessing.
Like, I get where you're coming from. I get you're saying, like, you shouldn't have to read the wikis, but that's just the thing. Like, a story has to be at least relatively confusing and complicated, or else it's going to be boring. But sometimes people have a hard time keeping up. Like, I have a hard time remembering names, and I have a hard time with, like, political stuff. Other people have a hard time with character interactions and understanding why people act certain ways. So, like, having that option to help fill in the gaps of, you know, what you normally enjoy out of a story and what usually kind of confuses you is nice. And if you completely understand everything, then you can just not check it, and then it's just like any other story. So I think it's nice to have the option. Now, obviously, if the story is going by and it stops every 3 seconds to explain things, that's when it's bad. And some stories do that. So, you know, some games, the characters will repeat the same concepts over and over and over again because they don't trust their fan base to understand it. Here, it's like they trust us to understand it, but at the same time, they give us the option to reread stuff if we've forgotten or if there's certain concepts we don't understand. Which I think is like the best way to do it, honestly. I think that's really nice. Better than the NPCs being annoying by telling us the same thing over and over, or not telling us anything and then we're just lost our whole first playthrough and have to play through again to understand anything, you know? Like, I think this is a pretty good medium.
There are no crystals here.
This is where we're supposed to meet Goots, isn't it?
That's right. He said he'd wait for us here after replenishing his supplies. I dare say he'll have finished by now.
What do you think, girl?
I haven't, well, exposition dumps aren't inherently bad, though.
Hurry, man.
must leave.
Like, Vivian explains to us what's going on in the world because it's impossible for the game to tell us that through events. Like, you can't... If you have, like, 4 kingdoms all battling at once, and our main character is at one of the kingdoms doing his thing, it's impossible to show us what's going on everywhere else. Like, we need someone to explain, like, oh, hey, while you were doing that, this happened. You know what I mean? So, like, in that way, an exposition dump is needed. Now, when there's, like, characters that have been underdeveloped, and they didn't have enough time to develop them the correct way, so, like, halfway through the game, there's just some character that's like, okay, by the way, this is what this is about. You know, because they didn't have time to, like, explain it. That's when exposition dumps can be bad. But when you have a big world and you're just explaining, like, what's going on, that makes sense. And it's not like she has 100 lines of dialogue. She explains it within, like, a minute. So, no, I think that's fine.
What are you looking for?
Nothing that you have, that's for sure.
You're welcome anytime.
Let me carry your goods. I'm cheap.
And nasty.
Peaches and pears.
Like, someone's got to tell us what's going on.
Wonders from across the water. Come one, come all. Feast your eyes. Good sir, can I interest you in...
Pita bread.
How much? For a measly crust of bread?
You won't find any cheaper. Not nowadays. You're more than welcome to look.
Once you go flat, you never go back.
The Empire's unlawful and illegitimate occupation of the Crystalline Dominion is still in effect. Only those whose business in Twinside has been officially approved by the Republican Army will be permitted to cross the border. All who seek entry are to form a line and ready their documents for inspection.
It looks like we aren't the only ones who are eager to leave.
And they're checking everyone.
Can't you make an
Not for the likes of you.
We won't get through without that pass. Let's go in and find Good, shall we?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but that's what I'm saying is, like, the game has been very good at explaining everything to where I've only had to check the ATL like 3 times. And it was more because I wanted to, not because I had to. But having it there, I think, is really nice, because there's certain things that some people just aren't a big fan of or aren't very good. Like I said, I suck with political stuff. Like, I get lost. Like, as soon as there's 3 or 4 kingdoms all battling at once, I just get confused. So at the beginning of the game, I took the time to read in the ATL, like, which kingdom was which, so that I could remember. And that's helped me immensely, because if I had continued playing without that, I would have been confused every time they brought up a kingdom name. So, like, that helped me a lot. But I don't think everyone needed that. I don't think that's, like, the game sucks because it didn't explain the kingdoms. Like, it did explain the kingdoms. I just suck at bringing in that information, so I needed a little extra help, you know? But that's not to say that, like, the game was bad at giving the information. It was. I think it's been really good. I've only had to check the ATL, like I said, a few times, and it was more of just because I wanted to.
Show them your trader's pass.
And, you know, I'm really good with character interactions. That's my thing. That's what I've always enjoyed the most out of games. And that's my background as well, is communication. So I've never had to check the ATL for characters and, like, how they interact and their emotions and everything. Sometimes names. I'm bad with names, but like, that kind of stuff I'm good at. So I've never had to check that. But someone else might need to. Someone else might be like, why are they mad at this person? Or why, you know, like, why is this? So they'd, like, check the ATL. So it's great having it there, I think. Like I said, I think it's a great middle ground to make everyone happy. No giant exposition dump or giant text screens or just nothing, and then kind of forcing the player to play the game more than once to understand everything. Said you have a nice middle ground between the two.